Hello, fellow ink drinkers, and welcome back to the Blind Girls Book Talk podcast. My name is Aria, my sister's name is Belle, and we are two legally blind sisters who love reading and love books. And so what we've done is we've decided to start this show in order to talk about that. We talk about a wide variety of bookish content, and that can range from bad retellings of stories, book-to-movie adaptation comparisons, buddy reads, recent reads, bookish challenges. Really, the list does go on and on. And today I am here alone since Belle is in her finals. It's a little hard to get her to be able to record with me. That's okay. So what I decided to do was talk about something that I didn't really necessarily need her here for, and that is my experience with the National Novel Writing Month. So I have been, trying to write for the past, I don't know how long. I did finish, of course, the one story, which is up on Wattpad. I'm still working on posting those chapters to Wattpad, but there's one completed story technically on my computer. And I had been kind of struggling to figure out what to write next. And essentially, it got to the point where I just kind of had an idea when I was talking to one of my friends one day for a story. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to write this. And I didn't know about NaNoWriMo before. It was something that I had learned was a thing. And I was just like, oh, that would be a good way to get me to write. So I decided to go for it. So did the time that I needed to, started planning some things out, that kind of thing. And I learned a lot about myself as a writer doing this challenge. And I also learned that it is not for me, or at least not in the way that it's meant to be, if that makes sense. So let me explain. When I started, I was trying to write during the day because even though I had always written at night, I never really had time to write any other time, if that makes sense. So it always had to be at night if I wanted to write. And since I had more time, I decided to try to write during the day. And I learned really quickly that no, that wasn't going to work out. I just didn't feel like anything flowed really well. I felt a lot better when I was writing at night. So first thing I learned, don't change up when you write just for NaNoWriMo. So then I also learned that the daily word count was a little bit much for me. On average, I could probably get about 1,500 words a day during the challenge. And you needed to get 1,600 and some in order to be on track. And I just couldn't do that. It never really worked out that well. It just was not a good time. And it got to the point where I just got so in my head about it that it was really hard to feel like I was going to be able to finish the challenge at all, because I was just I'm already so far behind. You know what I mean? There's no way I'm going to make this up. There's no way, I'm just going to be behind. And it was kind of one of those, kind of at war with myself kind of things. So yeah, if I do NaNoWriMo again, I would need to have a lower word count, a little bit of a lower word count. The other thing I learned about myself is that I am one of the rare writers who likes to have a really solid first draft, a first draft that I feel really good about. And then only have to tweak like little bits and pieces of it. I like kept seeing everybody being like, it's just a first draft, just get it down, like it'll be fine. And I was just like, no, like I don't want to sit and try to edit this 20 million times and try to fix things when if I could just sit down and do it the way that I want to do it at first. And that really does eat up like a lot of writing time, because it's kind of like trying to figure out exactly what you want to do in that moment. And some moments are easier to do that with than others. I know that like there were certain parts in the story that I felt really, really good about, and other parts that I did need to like think more on. But at the time, because I was in that mindset of I just need to get the word count down, I started just trying to get the word count, to meet the word count, but it just never felt right. Like it felt like I was missing stuff, and it was just a moment where I was just like, I really need to sit down and figure out like what this is. And you can't really do that if you're like in the spirit of the NaNoWriMo challenge. So it was, again, just not a good thing for me. Like it was kind of another mark against me, essentially. And then the last thing was that I ended up not being able to finish the month anyway for a couple different reasons. About halfway through the month of November, we had just kind of some glitches, I want to say, like going on in real life. Belle's dog had gotten a little sick, so we had to get her medicine. Bingley had gotten sick, so we had to take him to an emergency vet. He's fine, but it was enough to scare me, like that we needed to go and do something to help him, kind of thing. And there was just like a lot of that. You know what I mean? Like there was just a lot of things that were going on in real life that between all of that, like dealing with all of that and trying to fix all of that, and then trying to write a story that I was starting to not like because I couldn't do it the way that I normally write. It was a perfect storm of me just being like, I can't. I'm done. Like, I need to walk away from this for a while and then come back to it because I can't do it. And so that's what I ended up doing. I took the rest of November off. I got about 25,000 words in. So like for me, that's very good. But now essentially, I think my next step is to go back and start from the beginning and like start figuring out those things that I had problems with and start figuring out kind of how to fix it, and then see if I can get, you know, some feedback from friends and that kind of thing and go from there. I do need to figure out how to get beta readers, but we're working on it. So yeah, that's pretty much how my NaNoWriMo went. Again, like part of me is disappointed in myself that I didn't like try to push through, but another part of me knows that it would not have helped matters. Like it would not have made things better. It just would have been a perfect storm of badness. So again, it's one of those things where I'm just like, I learned a lot about me as a writer and like what I like to do during that time. So like for me, I feel like that is like a good reward in and of itself. You know, and now I can go back probably after the holidays and start figuring out what I need to do to fix this, if it can be fixed, if it can be salvaged, and just start trying to make those tweaks to get it done, get things fixed, and then kind of go from there. Yeah, that's pretty much what I got. I know that this is going to be a shorter episode, but normally the ones where I am alone are shorter just because, you know, it's just me talking. But yeah, so I don't want to say the title of this story or anything just because I don't know if it's going to be something that I end up doing anything with, trying to post, that kind of thing. So if it is, of course, you guys will be the first to know, as well as like it will be on Instagram and that kind of thing. So we're getting there, man. Right now, because I am filming this a couple weeks before the Christmas season and the Christmas holiday, you know, things are a little crazy trying to get ready for all of that insanity. So it's very hard to think about going back to writing and also kind of where I had been in writing, because to me, that seems like a lifetime ago of me starting and trying to do NaNoWriMo, when really, probably about the day of recording, it had been about a month since I last started or last worked on writing. But I did need the break, so I'm proud of myself to recognize that, because normally I feel like I would try to push myself, and sometimes you need to do that, but sometimes you need to just walk away. And I was definitely in the latter camp. I definitely needed to just walk away from it. So that being said, I want to thank you guys for coming along today as you listen to my ramblings about my writing experience this past month. Of course, if you like this episode, if you like what you've been listening to, please consider following the podcast and sharing the episode with your friends. It really would help us to grow the show, and we would appreciate the support of those actions. You know, and a definite thank you to everybody for listening. I know we don't say that enough, but it is there. It's always in the back of my mind, and I always forget to say it because I'm bad at this. And then next time, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing another one of the Tipsy Bad retellings, and we're going to do a different Dickens Christmas story. So that is going to be a time, and I hope you will join us then to see it. So we'll see you guys then. Bye.